it's an attempt to apply the Austrian business cycle of economics, of the production of goods to the production of ideas. And what I have tried to show is that you have that concepts need to be produced as well. Because you could say, well, if I have an idea and you copy the idea, then I don't lose my own idea. You have just copied it. So ideas are not a scarce good. But what is a scarce good is the time to conceptualize an idea. And if you start looking at how people economize on time, then you can start to find out that there is a structure of production there as well. Yes. Yes, of course, the radical subjectivism of Menger and Mises, so that the valuations are subjective. But the important thing is that, well, let me start with the basic observation I have made, and that is that we have a conceptual inflation today. If you look at the concept rights, for instance, it used to be only property right, and some rights that are derived from property rights. Nowadays, you have all kinds of rights. You have a right to free education, a right to free healthcare, and with each legislature, the parliament votes new rights. So you get an injection of new meanings in the same concept, and it devalues everything. And you know, this is my first observation. Well, from a lot of rivers. I had a lot of thirst to know how these things worked. You have some identifications in the sociology of knowledge, of course in linguistics, also in psychology. I try to integrate as much disciplines as I can. But my main goal is to show that if you want to achieve a free society, that you have to be very, very clear about what is a right and what is not. And by using this theory, you can show how cultural Marxism actually tried to change the meaning of words. I have given the example of the concept of justice. Justice means, in its original context, getting what you deserve. If you did something right, you get moral credit and you get more authority in the group. If you did something wrong, you get expelled from the group, and you can only come back after some repentance. Nowadays, I have made a list with 32 meanings of the concept of justice. You have social justice, you have sexual justice, you have climate justice, intergenerational justice, you name it. And at the end of the day, the concept doesn't mean anything anymore. So everybody is in favor of justice up until you start defining what it is. And you have a luring social conflict that will come about when, you know, when the economic crisis becomes bigger. Then you will see that we have totally dissolved our conceptual culture. Well, maybe I'm a bit too ambitious, but yes, that this. If you look at history, we were in the Dark Ages in Europe, up until Thomas of Aquinas came and he reinstated the logic that has been discovered by Aristotle, and this was a true renaissance, because in his day, in the 13th century, you had a little Carolingian Renaissance, which was a quite philosophical Renaissance, but it laid the bedrock for the big Renaissance that came a few centuries later. And in my theory, I can explain this within the same conceptual framework. What we need now, what we are going to now, in my opinion, is the second Middle Ages. Or not Middle Ages, Dark Ages. And what we need to do is show intellectual entrepreneurship and try to reclaim the meanings that have been lost due to the injection of fiat meanings into existing concepts. What we actually really need is a second philosophical renaissance. And I see a lot of potential in the libertarian community to do this, but we must be aware of the distortion that has taken place in the conceptual realm.